Good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. Government urged to resolve the impasse involving ZESCO, CEC and KCM. The UPND alliance cautions critics against bringing a rift between government and chiefs. LAFARGE slashes cement prices by 10%. In international news, religious groups join forces to oppose new electoral chief. And in sports, guardians urged to expose children with disabilities to sports.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
And now the news in detail. A tipper truck mysteriously caught fire Sunday morning in Lusaka's 15 miles area when the driver of the said truck went into a nearby market to have breakfast. The truck driver, only identified as Given, told Camnet TV that he suspects that the fire must have been caused by the truck's engine. And according to an eyewitness, the truck burst into frightening flames before the fire was set off by firefighters. We have more in the following report.
Flames rose high off a tipper truck in Lusaka's 15 miles area Sunday morning while the vehicle was parked at a nearby market in the area. According to eyewitnesses who were present at the scene, the tipper truck mysteriously caught fire. They state they noticed smoke in the cabin followed by flames. The incident is said to have occurred between 8:30 to 9 hours on the 31st of October 2021.
Yes, Zambia has enough money from the budget which we are having. It's very enough. But what we are crying for is decentralization. Imagine if we had a fire brigade at Chisamba. This people could have come earlier on, even 10 minutes or 5 minutes. But the system, because the system is too much centralized, no wonder people came very late. So what we are crying for is decentralization of the system. If we have decentralization of the system, we wouldn't have this problem. Imagine if it was a house which was burning. People would die. Yeah, now, how many people would die in our society?
But the driver, identified as Given, says the truck engine has a fault, hence suspect that might be the cause. The driver, who seemed confused and shocked to what had just transpired, could not disclose any further information. Firefighters extinguished the fire, but not before the truck cab was destroyed. There was no report of injuries. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Various stakeholders have made recommendations on how government should address the plight of street children in the country who are part of the ever-increasing number of out-of-school children. According to SOS Children's Village statistics, Zambia has over 13,000 street children, 8,470 child-headed households, and about 1.2 million orphans who need parental care, and adding to the 800,000 number out-of-school children. And the Media Network on Child Rights and Development Executive Director Henry Kawe has urged the government to prioritize the issue of birth registration in order to comprehensively resolve issues affecting children in the country. Patrick Soko reports.
They are called street kids, as if the streets have ever given birth to a child, when in fact it is the manifestation of collapsed societal norms, family disintegration, such as divorce, marital disputes, death of parents, among other things, drive an increase in the number of homeless children, and most of all, poverty. The Lusaka flyover bridge, adjacent to the post office, is home to several children, and my interactions with these kids revealed that most of them come from the Copper Belt.
Nationally, and never John Chunga. I came from Kitwe. Nationally, from Kunganda. Bamami basi skulu bali ntwara nombo mkuru wante twari mfana na yena na mine kushingora bambuye tabansunga bino baranguma fana shire mtamu.
They came by train to this destination. Most of them desire to go back to school.
Nefuna butikira panganda amami na badadzi fipo fyaripo namanga twakuri ba bururu aba mami baratamvi efo ngatwa pari ba bururu aba mami bamokutwe batsi mfo bakabwarara efo na bena badadzi banzi banwa fyo wora na bena efo twasina na fo bana na mu street na fumine ku street kitu fo na sina na kono kurusaka abadadi na bananika na ba mami so ndefwa munga visheko mjeweke msende ko mjeweke so kulwa mami kai na riambe school opona mbie school pada ba mami bali mepe adaba tu kwacha so ya tu kwacha na sana kai pa na voice fukushi ampusa maino mwinko manje tatwa kwa tama dozi traffic post mna mwintwala kashitwala ma post muda bambaro mfwe mpepo bambi because still tetwe po stick ya tona ora manankani amaliva na marangi ya wakatini fwa batfwa ka mabu chapa stick mwamunanga so tevati barandika ma president watu afwe ko fotwe baiti na bakuru abakuru bashita kutwa business fwe batukeka percent twapapata.
Addressing their plight cannot be successful under a one-size-fits-all approach, according to Eugene Machona, the Sovuko NGO executive director.
When we remove these children from the street, where are we taking them? What are they going to be doing? You need to identify if they are good in music, they want to become musicians. Take them in those camps where you put them and align them with musicians. Invite artists to interact with them so that you find in the long run others are going to become musicians and they'll be able to be making their own money. Others would want to do, to go into sports.
The street is not short of talent, but it is true that lack of recreation is something to address. Media Network on Child Rights and Development Executive Director Enrique says BEF registration remains vital in order to take care of children's needs.
And that should help us now to document how children are being raised in particular areas, and we should have a system where at what level we have social welfare workers or social workers, who can be able to follow up with families. If a child is at the age of 3 in a normal situation, they should be attending early childhood education. So if there is a social worker at what level, they should be able to follow up with families that have not taken their children to school.
Panos Institute Southern Africa Executive Director Vusomozi Sifile shared his views.
The discussion, the discourse around children's rights has to go even broader than it has previously gone. And then, of course, I think within the next 2-3 weeks, we will be sharing information of new interventions that we are implementing under a new project that we are calling the Driving Sustainable Change for Children's Rights in Zambia.
The 2022 national budget has pronounced free education up to secondary level. One only hopes some of these children will be taken on board. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Zambia Land Alliance has appealed to the government to raise awareness on the current national land policy for citizens across the country to understand various provisions. Alliance Director Patrick Musole notes with concern that the communication of the policy to ordinary citizens is lacking, which deprives their right to accessing land in the country. Meanwhile, a concerned youth of Matero has called on government to help appreciate issues surrounding land acquisition. We have more in the following report.
Over the years, land issues in Zambia have increasingly emerged related to urban growth, statutory tenure systems, and large-scale land-based investments. Launched on 11th May 2021, National Lands Policy represents an important achievement for government after almost 2 decades of periodic drafting, consultation, and validation attempts. However, stakeholders highlight some of the lacunas that government must pay particular attention by revisiting this policy. A Matero resident raises some of the concerns that ordinary citizens face in acquiring land in Zambia.
Government procedures takes long for someone to acquire the land, because you need to apply for the land and you have to wait again. So it really takes time for someone to acquire land. So what people prefer is to get land from an individual than getting land direct from the government. What I feel is just that a lot of people here in Matero, they are lacking knowledge on how to acquire land. For it is important for someone to know how to acquire land as well as the procedures. So to my point, I feel the government should really put more effort in sensitizing the people around the areas.
Meanwhile, the Zambia Land Alliance Director, Patrick Mosole, has highlighted some pending issues that need to be revisited in the policy.
Besides that, the eligibility age for the youth to acquire land has been reduced from 21 to 18 years, and we feel that these are positives that are contained in the national land policy. However, the national land policy is very, very general. It does not specify, for example, measures to protect customary land. It's not there. Civil society organizations and other partners have been piloting customary land documentation or certificates. They are missing. The policy is silent. The Ministry of Local Government has been giving occupants licenses. The policy is silent, and we feel that these are setbacks. Besides that, there is also silence on the protection of Zambians from large-scale land-based investment. We had proposed that we need to have free, prior and informed consent before any investors can be allocated land, but that is silent. We very much wanted to see that incorporated into the policy.
It therefore calls for government to intensify sensitization to educate ordinary citizens.
Awareness of the chiefs and other traditional leaders and community members, so that they are aware about the policy and what provisions are there in this policy. We are actually involved in that. Of course, our reach is limited, and we'd like to appeal to government to also roll out this policy, especially awareness raising. We'd like the policy to be translated into all key languages, the 7 major languages, so that it's accessible to all stakeholders, even those who cannot speak English. We'd also want to see it translated into Braille for those our colleagues that are visually impaired, so that they can also access this policy.
The policy provides that Ministry of Community Development and Social Services is responsible for awareness creation on the importance of land ownership and land management in communities and promotion of proper land ownership programs. It is hoped, therefore, that much will be done to address the raised concerns by the citizens and other stakeholders. Alex Shimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Non-state actors have demanded that the New Dawn government acts by putting in place measures to protect young people from tobacco. Each year, tobacco kills 7,142 Zambians, and 60% of these annual deaths from tobacco are among individuals under the age of 70 years. Each year, tobacco costs the Zambian economy 2.8 billion kwacha, equivalent to 1.2% of its gross domestic product. Patrick Soko has more in this report.
The tobacco industry is firm in recruiting new smokers. At least 1.4 million Zambians are using tobacco products, over 80% in rural areas. This is carried out using multiple strategies, including marketing, advertising, and promotion, very often around schools, leading to experimentation and overall addiction to tobacco among children.
and the party no kuliwa for a guy amzako gashwa shapo people kuliwa ngalayo mumani this now I think the good work kuja kusema ombea sisi kuzompusi fulani hapo people and do kwa kama so please kama chilaga sungaleke pembeni hapo ya mabutu kulika so mwawe vungaleke batwaka
This child smoker, initiated at the age of 16, is among many young people who have fallen victim and now having difficulties quitting. Tobacco is lethal, the only legal product that, when used as instructed, kills 50% of its users.
Government should also play a pivotal role in terms of scaling up sensitization amongst the public. There are very little information that is there in the public domain as regards to tobacco control. The only thing that we all know since the time we were born up to this day is tobacco is harmful. But how harmful is it? We need to know all that information so that once the young people are acquainted with the information, it will be easier for us to regulate and actually encourage our young people to quit smoking, because smoking is really dangerous for their health.
Other young people remind the government to enact the Tobacco and Nicotine Products Control Bill into law. National Action for Quality Education Executive Director Alon Chansa tells this journalist that selling tobacco to children must be criminalized.
Industry advertises these cigarettes nearby schools. Learners are easily accessing these products because the tobacco industry is making profits out of this. But the bottom line is that tobacco is not good for people. Young people are getting destroyed, they're getting unruly, they are underperforming in schools, and would want the government to ban the sale of cigarettes near schools. We also want government to criminalize the sale of these cigarettes to young people, especially in the compounds. It is becoming unbearable.
Brenda Chitindi is the executive director for the Tobacco Free Association of Zambia.
Tobacco is very dangerous actually. We are just looking at it as if it's a product that is not dangerous. And looking at also considering that Zambia, there are so many needs, and we have even seen how the tobacco industry have come in so greatly, so forceful to entice the children here in Zambia to start smoking.
The Zambian government has committed to enact the tobacco control registration next year, and in the 2022 national budget, government has proposed to increase tax on cigarettes. Smoking is the perfect way of committing suicide without actually dying, but eventually succumbing to death. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Green Party of Zambia has called on the Zambian government to amicably address issues involving power utility firm ZESCO, Copperbelt Energy Corporation CEC, and Konkola Copper Mines KCM. His comment follows the surprising turn of events where ZESCO Limited wants to restrict power to Konkola Copper Mines KCM and has written to the Copperbelt Energy Corporation CEC to do that on its behalf. This is according to a letter signed by ZESCO Managing Director Victor Mundende to his CEC counterpart and copied to the permanent secretaries in the Ministries of Mines and Energy and the Energy Regulation Board ERB, in which he asks that CEC starts restricting power to KCM on its behalf. ZESCO proposed that the restriction should be implemented 14 days from 13 October 2021 to the 28th of October 2021. However, it was only last year ZESCO prized KCM away from CEC as a customer after KCM failed to pay its debt to CEC, now standing at more than 150 million United States dollars. At the time, in June 2020, ZESCO joined hands with KCM and jointly took CEC to court for demanding that KCM pays its dues or risk having its power supply restricted. CEC owns the transmission and distribution lines that supply power to KCM, and in 2020, the former Minister of Energy, Matthews Nkua, declared the company's assets a common carrier, an act which allowed ZESCO to use CEC facilities without giving the company a chance to negotiate the terms and conditions for the use of its infrastructure. At the time, various stakeholders argued that the government's interference in the matter was meant to aid KCM to avoid paying its debt to CEC, but continue to enjoy electricity using the private company's infrastructure. This is because the government was, on one hand, liquidating KCM, on the other, owns ZESCO, from where CEC buys its power. Green Party leader Peter Zinkamba has called on the Zambian government to amicably address the matter.
So they can also as well just forget about production. We are going to waste assets at KCM. The best this government needs to do is to withdraw that liquidation thing at KCM, withdraw it completely, and then let some serious policy direction be given on how KCM is going to operate, how CEC is going to operate, how ZESCO is going to operate. Now, this has a arrangement. It's not beneficial to anyone at all. It may even be costly at some point to the nation, because should those operations at KCM grind to a halt, and there we have mines like Konkola mine, which is one of the wettest mines in the world. You don't provide power in just 1 hour, the entire mine is going to be flooded. Then you're going to waste a lot of equipment and stuff. So I think there's need to handle that issue from a very mature point of view.
Republican Progressive Party leader Leslie Chikose has cautioned politicians who want to bring a rift between government and chiefs to focus on issues of national interest. Speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka Sunday morning, Mr. Chikose, who is also UPND Alliance spokesperson, says blame games on the affairs of traditional leaders should not be tolerated. He reiterates that issues surrounding Chief Chitimkulu have been cleared. More in the following report.
About 300 Democratic Party members have defected to the UPND Alliance, citing confusion in the DP party. Among those that have joined the UPND Alliance under the Republican Progressive Party is Chama Mwasa, who once stood as an aspiring member of parliament under the DP in Ron constituency in the 12 August 2021 general elections. Upon him joining the party, Mr. Mwasa has also been appointed to the position of national chairperson for youths. Others include Onea Kayumba from the former ruling PF, who has been appointed as provincial chair lady.
And the main reason why I have decided to join the RPP today, that is very simple. As you are all aware, it is an open secret that the party where I'm coming from, the Democratic Party, there are a lot of infighting. Shame. And I want, and from this day on, I want to disassociate myself from such undertakings. So I've decided to join the Progressive Party of a vision leader, President Chikuse. This is not a defection, but it's a political shift. Because statesmen do not defect, they only make political shifts. Yes. So, for those of you who are coming from outside, I'm sure you've seen a huge number of people that have come with me to the RPP. More than 326 members. Yeah.
Republican Progressive Party President Leslie Chikose has welcomed the defectors and says it is a good gift to the party, adding that the party cannot grow if it does not receive new members. On the other note, Mr. Chikose, who is also UPND Alliance spokesperson, has thanked Chief Chitimukulu's spokesperson who cleared the wind that President Hakainde Hichilema denied to meet Chief Chitimukulu during his visit in the area.
Are part and parcel of the governance of this country, whether President Hakainde goes there or not. And that is why there's always a call that they should never involve themselves with parties and politics, because they are a government. They belong to the UPND and Alliance government. So I'm shocked that these petty politicians who find refuge or relevance by fighting to be assorted for them to be called politicians can want to trivialize the importance of chiefs and begin to state that when President Hakainde went into this area, he did not greet Chief So and Chief So and Chief So. Where are the serious politicians that we used to have? Why are we having these comedy politicians who do not know how to grow their political parties?
Meanwhile, Mr. Chikose has urged the Anti-Corruption Commission to decentralize its operations in all constituencies.
Decentralization of the Anti-Corruption Commission immediately becomes very important, because without that, there is a likelihood that our friends from the Patriotic Front might sabotage this good idea and policies and decide to enrich themselves and engage in corruption and buy themselves brand new suits, brand new vehicles at the expense of development.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
LAFARGE Zambia PLC has reduced the price of cement between 5 to 10%. The decision to reduce the price has been attributed to the recent appreciation of the kwacha against major currencies, as well as the positive outlook of national economic growth. LAFARGE Zambia has been operational in Zambia for over 72 years, with a wide footprint of projects and distribution outlets across the country. However, the firm in its statement to the press could not quantify the 5 to 10% reduction, considering that prices of its commodity have been fluctuating. And when reached for clarification, the Public Relations Unit at LAFARGE requested for press query that was yet to be responded to by broadcast time. You're watching Camnet TV and not just another channel. We'll take a break, come back with more news.
This is the Rusitu Irrigation Project. It's a government project funded by the World Bank through IDSP.
The project involved laying over 18 kilometers worth of interlinked water pipes that will supply water to the 280 hectares land for small-scale and commercial farmers in Lusitu of Chirundu district. We worked on 35 kilometers of the road network and also constructed 159 concrete water hydrants of different sizes in all 3 tiers. The state-of-the-art water pumping station at the banks of the Zambezi is fitted with 9 water pumps, a dedicated concrete reservoir, a 500 kV automated standby generator, a fully automated pump switching system that is interlinked with a second reservoir of 27,000 cubic liters capacity, which is fitted with 7 water pumps, a standby generator and floater tanks for that extra water pressure on the irrigation lines. Savenda Construction is grateful to the Zambian government and the World Bank for giving us the opportunity to be part of the history of Lusitu, as the project will benefit over 282 households once completed, and is just one of the many that Savenda Construction has embarked on, owing to its track record and capacity to deliver as per requirement. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The Citizens' Environmental and Social Concern ZESCO has expressed disappointment in the 2022 national budget allocation of 0.6% to environmental protection. ZESCO Executive Director Conwell Hakapia says that it is disheartening, especially that the New Dawn government recognizes the significant challenges that a degraded environment presents to Zambia, hence the creation of the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. Mr. Hakapia has since noted that the 0.6% allocation of the proposed budget is inadequate and will not deliver clear targets on environmental protection. He says this in an interview Sunday, October 31, 2021.
And we wonder how this very important institution will be strengthened with such a little allocation to the environment. We should make it clear that it is not possible to have a genuinely protected environment when we have a weak, understaffed and an underfunded environmental agency with very limited permanent presence in the country. It is also very sad that government has further proposed to remove the 5% customs duty on filler master batch with the sole purpose of making plastic manufacturing even cheaper when we are already pinned against the wall while fighting this plastic pollution problem in this country, which is very rampant and unsustainable. And the very companies being aided here have not come to the table to assist curb the plastic pollution crisis which they cause. They manufacture, distribute and sell their single-use plastic with impunity and with no extended producer responsibilities. The government should be cognizant of the fact that environmental protection is very important and it is a cross-cutting function because health, mining, agriculture, energy, education and all other functions depend on the sustainability of our environment to thrive. So if we are not being greenwashed, may we see the money being put where the mouth is.
Social economist Kelvin Chisanga has proposed to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to have a regional integration unit interlinked with key ministries to foster partnership for the export market. In an interview, Mr. Chisanga explains that this integration department can work closely with all neighboring countries to enhance and harmonize trade affairs between borders despite tightening of economic diplomatic functions.
I feel that there is a need for us to have a regional integration department under Ministry of Home Affairs as well as Ministry of Commerce. These two should actually overlap in terms of capacity as well as the opportunities posed for Congo. And of course, we know that the Democratic Republic of Congo has been importing quite a number of Zambian stuff. We've actually been importing cement, we've been importing milling meal, we've been importing hydrated lime, we've been importing concentrated drinks, soap, all sorts of things that are actually being made in the Zambian case. So I feel that the Congo market has a very vast opportunity for us. And if you look at even the composition of the Congo market, it has two parts.
The government has reviewed its plans to invest in local vaccine manufacturing to cut down on the cost of importing vaccinations in the livestock industry. Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua says the government is committed to ensuring that local people benefit from doing livestock business, unlike what the past holds. Mr. Nanjua has since echoed the need to educate the local people on business so that they can make more profit and avoid unnecessary losses. The minister says this when he addressed the media during the Shimunenga traditional ceremony of the Ila people of Mala in Namala on Sunday.
During the Shimunenga traditional ceremony of the Hila people of Mala in Namwala, Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua says that government is committed to investing in the local vaccination manufacturing to cut down on the cost of importing vaccination in the livestock industry. He says this when he addressed the media on Sunday.
Sector of the economy that we are looking forward to, when it is promoted and supported nicely, it can contribute highly. And the government, the new Dawn government, under the leadership of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Camnet, we are saying that the vaccines and the drugs, they need to start being produced in this country. So when we start manufacturing those drugs, we are going to reduce the cost of those drugs. And now we're expecting that those suppliers of drugs and medicines for livestock, they should do as well give what is value for money so that we can promote this livestock industry.
The minister further echoed the need for sensitization among citizens in the livestock industry.
For prestige, 1,000 animals, 2,000 animals. Now the man is not looking like the man who owns all that. So we need also to be educated as people in this region that is our asset, that is our wealth. We need to really show and ensure that we are benefiting out of these assets.
He has also highlighted some of the projects he plans to embark on in Central Province.
Tourism. The challenge that we have in the tourism sector is the issue of encroachments. The Kafue National Park, which is the biggest national park in Africa, and also which is highly reliable in terms of tourism. The GMA in the Kafue National Park has been so much encroached by people. So that challenge is a big challenge which is threatening the tourism industry in the province. So as a Central Province administration, we are working 24/7 to ensure that the situation is restored so that tourism can begin to be real the way it's supposed to be. So that it's supposed to start generating employments for our youth.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Central Province.
Bus and Taxi Association of Zambia Director Sidney Mbewe has called on the government to consider establishing COVID-19 vaccination centers in bus stations, markets and churches. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mbewe says with a possible fourth wave of COVID-19, the government should enhance response measures. Meanwhile, a medical doctor, Teddy Mulenga, says the government should find a way of reducing the number of passengers per bus so as to maintain the low levels of COVID-19 cases recorded in the country. More in the following report.
On the 15th of October 2021, Minister of Health Silva Masebo bemoaned the low levels of the number of people who've been vaccinated against COVID-19 in the country. Ms. Masebo said COVID-19 remains a threat to the Zambian population, hence the need for concerted effort to curb the pandemic. That said, Bus and Taxi Association of Zambia Director Sidney Mbewe has called on government to consider establishing COVID-19 vaccination centers in high congregational areas such as bus stations, markets and churches.
Echo our previous concern in the manner in which we feel the COVID-19 is being approached by government, and that would have expected a full-scale battle against the COVID-19 by ensuring that all corners of society are attended to. And by this we mean that government would have paid attention to where people meet in high congregations. And these are places like the bus stations, markets, churches, where we expect people to be there at a given time in huge numbers. Now these are places that we have wanted government to place COVID-19 vaccination centers.
And the medical doctor, Teddy Mulenga, has called on government to find a way of reducing the number of passengers per bus.
Bus stops, everybody must mandatory mask up. Sanitation, sanitizing as they enter into buses, and all must be masked up. Nobody should board a bus without masking up. And we expect that the transport system can reduce on the number of passengers per bus, maybe up to 50%. Okay, they will complain about earnings, but what about when the bus were closed? Were they earning? It needs sacrifice.
Meanwhile, a bus driver and an entrepreneur have given their thoughts on the possible fourth wave.
I think this coronavirus, for me, I can just take it as a simple baby. So me, I cannot take it up. Because me, I've never gotten sick of coronavirus before. And I'm still alive up to this time.
The Ministry of Health has for a long time taken an important step to revive the fight against the global pandemic in order to continue enhancing preventive measures. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Chipata City Council has disclosed that its fire department has managed to recover the body of a 14-year-old boy named Gordon Mwanza of Soweto Compound who drowned in Apollo Dam yesterday. Public Relations Manager Charity Mtonga says after receiving a report yesterday, the 30th of October 2021, the fire department immediately initiated the search, but the operation was discontinued after failed attempts and loss of time. Mr. Mtonga says the teenager's body was fished out of the waters at about 07:54 hours Sunday morning after a thorough search conducted by a team of council marine officers.
The fire department of the Chipata City Council yesterday responded to a drowning incident. We got a call at about 14 hours that someone had drowned in Apollo Dam 1. Now, when the information was given to us, our team immediately got on the ground and initiated a search. But after so many failed attempts, we discontinued for the day and reconvened this morning. And I can confirm that at about 07:54 hours today, we managed to get the body out of the waters.
The Integrated Community Litter Initiative National Chairperson Pasco Chikumbi has told Camnet News that there is a need to focus on mindset change in order to effectively manage waste in the country. Mr. Chikumbi has since called on the government to promote waste recycling initiatives.
As an organization, our appeal is to the people of Zambia to shift their minds from the negative attitude that they have of indiscriminate disposal of waste to a positive way where they will learn that every waste which is being generated on a personal level must be disposed of adequately, and that is not going to cause public health and a danger to the environment. We know for sure that this country has done a lot of launches in terms of cleaning up of this country. But one thing, the biggest thing that has actually made this campaign to fail is the attitude of people. Until we change our mindsets, the issue of cleanliness, of cleaning up this country, it will still remain a pipe dream to us.
A 79-year-old woman from Impiao village in Kasenengo district is appealing for help from well-wishers to construct a better toilet that has a seat, which she can be using whenever she wants to answer the call of nature. Mutu Menji Zulu, a widow and grandmother, says due to her age, she cannot be able to use a pit latrine, which requires her to squat when answering the call of nature. We have more in the following report.
When a community has got poor levels of sanitation, disease outbreaks are very much expected among the people. A team from a non-governmental organization called Kaspilire Integrated Project conducted a baseline survey to find out sanitation levels in Chipata district. For Mutumenji Zulu, a 79-year-old woman in Impiao village in Chief Mshoro's area, using a pit latrine which is in a deplorable state is very difficult.
Nyokumba lomba pa iliye chapa chite mtenje iliye umu cherwa muliye yai mulivimiti tia voti yoka pariye ukhondo kaika toilet pariye ukhondo yai.
Miss Zulu, who is a widow, is appealing to well-wishers for help to construct her a sit-on-toilet seat latrine.
Fona tandizo unimangira kwa toilet kuti nkaribu ina pawe ukhondo ka
And earlier, the team from Kazipilire Integrated Project paid courtesy calls on Chief Mishoro of the Ngoni-speaking people and Chief Chanje of the Chewa-speaking people, respectively, to enlighten them on the project.
Taletako kachitukuko kaki ne kutuita kuti dry toilets.
dry toilet, yochita separate mkozo na yakanya kine pasosi fiko mata na urine yamene tuisunga then tuigwirisa nchito ulimi nifetereza tuchitaso chitukuko cha asimbi masukulu wa panganya menstrual hygiene kutosa tokoleka kulita sukulu chifukwa vimbuzi mvipa enakankala kuntepo avokanga kulita sukulu anda aferuka sukulu na sukulu ikande chifukwa cha tamenezo ya
niandika kwambiri leo kwa cha kufika kwa serenzani mu masuka tani na where ya silongo sola otiondora ni mwe ndiye mtanga tiondora kabia kini sunga kwanishi bafunika ma technocrats.
It's a very good program, it's a welcome program. So you know ila tunamanja kama unumuziswata pe plan. Vintu resources tikana now but it is we don't know.
Sanitation is very important because it promotes cleanliness in communities, leaving no room for disease outbreaks. Sylvester Shimba for Zanis, in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. And in international news, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the appointment of the electoral chief Denis Kadima has attracted opposition, mainly from religious groups and other opposition parties. Congo's Constitutional Court on Tuesday swore in the Electoral Commission chief amid controversy over his nomination. Meanwhile, activists in Sudan say another 3 people have been killed in protest against a military coup. Here's a roundup of international news.
In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the appointment of the electoral chief Denis Kadima has attracted opposition, mainly from the religious groups in the country. Congo's Constitutional Court on Tuesday swore in the Electoral Commission chief amid controversy over his nomination. The Archbishop of Kinshasa, Cardinal Fridolin Ambogo, during his visit to the neighboring Congo Brazzaville, said that he disagreed with the choice of the head of the Electoral Commission. The new appointment was confirmed by President Felix Tshisekedi, but contested by the Catholic Church and Protestants, who represents, according to Mr. Mbogo, more than 90% of Congo's population. The head of the Catholic Church alleged Kadima was too close to the head of state, who has already expressed his intention to run again. According to political analysts, the appointment of Kadima, who hails from the same province as the president, could strengthen Tshisekedi's hand in the next election, but may also undermine perception of the policy integrity and fractures the ruling Sacred Union coalition.
A protest that's been days in the making. Thousands of people gather on the streets of Khartoum, demanding a return to transitional government, something they say was robbed from them after the military coup on Monday.
We went to the street because we reject the military rule and we reject authoritarianism, and we categorically reject all the behavior of the military council.
We want to topple the Security Committee and bring it down. We don't trust these people. This is not their first coup. We need the world to know that the Sudanese people are living under oppression and are being beaten. Our voices are not listened to because there is no coverage and there is no internet.
They're risking a lot. Days of protests in the capital led to street-to-street battles with the military and demonstrators killed. With the internet cut off, organizers used mosques, flyers, and graffiti to reach people. The military also blocked the main road to the airport, the planned route of this march. Saturday's protests were met with tear gas and live ammunition.
What is really concerning is the vast, array of military and security actors that are on the streets. There are just incredible set of security sectors that now patrol the streets. No sense that they are necessarily taking orders from a central spot, and I think that that diversity of different military actors is really the worry.
These demonstrators are demanding that Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok's cabinet be restored. It was toppled by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. He also dissolved the Sovereignty Council established after the overthrow of Omar al-Bashir 2 years ago. Some political parties have supported the coup. Burhan says he will hold elections in July 2023 and then hand power to the elected civilian government. But the takeover has provoked international condemnation. The UN and US has called on the military not to intervene in the protests. Regional and international actors have been urging General Burhan to reverse his coup and restore the transitional government which he dissolved on Monday. But many protesters here say even if that happens, it still falls short of their demands to completely hand over power to civilian rule. The people on Khartoum streets call it a power grab and demand a return to a democratic process. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Khartoum.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, Fashion Sakala scored a hat-trick against Rangers, Fashion Sakala's hat-trick scored a hat-trick against Rangers and powered past 10-man Motherwell to stretch their Scottish Premiership lead to 4 points. Bevis Mugabe squeezed the horse in front, but Rangers captain James Tavernier stroked in a superb volley and then crossed for Sakala to turn the game around on half-time. Sakala added further strikes either side of Glenn Kamara's fine goal in the second half, with Motherwell captain Stephen O'Donnell sent off at 3-1. Kema Roof rounded off a thumping win. And still in sports, a sports teacher at Chawama Secondary School has appealed to parents whose children are living with disabilities to allow them to socialize so that they too can participate in different sports activities. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Mr. Jeremiah Casaro says there are different sports activities that children with disabilities can participate in, such as blind football and seated volleyball. We have more in the following report.
The participation of children with disabilities in sports and recreational activities promotes inclusion, minimizes deconditioning, optimizes physical functioning, and enhances overall well-being. Despite these benefits, children living with disabilities are more restricted in their participation and have lower levels of fitness and high levels of obesity than their peers without disabilities. This is why a sports teacher at Chawama Secondary School has appealed to parents whose children are living with disability to release their children so that they too can participate in different sports activities aligned for them.
Parents usually do not want to release their children. They don't want to expose children to sports. Basically, maybe because they feel the child will be injured. Even in classes, we have this problem. Most of the children with disabilities, they don't come to school. Mainly because they are laughed at, they are not considered, they are not involved in various activities. So, as sports...
Kasaro says most times parents feel their children are discriminated.
Disabled disabilities, it's called Paralympic sports. It's just new. It's been there, but the school is just been introduced. So we're having challenges because parents do not want to release their children. But besides having a school team for disabilities, we have also a club that we have formed for children with disabilities. So currently we are identifying children in communities. So when we identify or when we see a child who has a disability, the first thing we do is to go and talk to the parents, explain to them why we need those children to be coming for sports.
Parents may overestimate the risk and overlook the benefits of physical activities in children living with disability. Well-informed decisions regarding each child's participation must consider overall health status. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
To end Camnet News, we take a look at the stories making headlines once again. Government urged to resolve the impasse involving ZESCO, CEC and KCM. The UPND alliance cautions critics against bringing a rift between government and chiefs. LAFARGE slashes cement prices by 10%. In international news, religious groups join forces to oppose new electoral chief. And in sports news, Guardians urged to expose children with disabilities to sports. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Isaiah 64, verse 8 to 9, and it reads, "Yet, Lord, you are our Father. We are the clay, and you are our potter. We all are the work of your hands. Lord, do not be terribly angry or remember our iniquity forever. Please look, all of us are your people." My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and thanks for watching Camnet TV News. Bye-bye.